Hello.
Hi and welcome.
Welcome to you.
It's been a few months to get us going again in this
Yes,
year of 2023, but here we are.
here we are.
Been busy girls and
Lots unfolding.
there sure is. And I'm just glad to be back and being able to discuss life, human life, and integrate
Yes.
human and divine with you and with our guests and guides.
Yes.
So today we have keepers of the keys that are always with us,
Yes.
holding space and giving us their wisdom or sharing their wisdom with us. And today we have the Council of Light. Vicky, which Council of Light, just so that we're clear?
The Planetary Council of Light.
The planetary, wonderful. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ariavea also is joining us, which is your Andromedan guides.
My Andromedan guides. So yeah, the group of 18 Andromedan guides coming through. And we've had them, is it once or twice before?
Had them twice now. This will be
the third time. Nice. Yes. Yeah, so they're coming through. Yeah. Oh, I just felt them then. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see what they want to share for them to be asking to come through.
Well, for me, it's been the word belief was the word that I kept being giving, beliefs. So I've come up with the name of the vibration in belief.
Yes.
So
nice.
How are we feeling in our beliefs rather than what we're doing with our beliefs? How are we feeling in our beliefs? And I'm really interested in our guests and what they will actually share with us in regards to that, because beliefs just are so powerful. They actually direct most of our life, really, don't they?
It does. Well, the Buddha said that what we believe shapes our world. And it's very true. It's like, this is how we create our own reality. What's interesting is, from a neurobiological perspective, our experiences as an infant and our parents' beliefs is what shapes our beliefs first. So we kind of come, I wouldn't say with a blank slate, but like that, those experiences help structure and create the brain. So we can't, a newborn infant doesn't have capacity to have a belief, not on a cognitive thought-based way. And so our beliefs are then shaped by our experiences, which then shape the world and our experience. So then it becomes like a feedback loop system. So it'd be interesting to see, and this is the difficulty, is like, how do we shift out of our kind of that template that we've been given from our parents? How do we shift out of that template and move into a divine template, and and then truly be the creators that we're meant to be, so that we can truly create our reality from a vibration or a consciousness of love, rather than from that which is in control or in fear or in anything else that is of a lower vibration. So I think that's going to be an interesting discussion.
Yes, well, I just think that, like, our beliefs are sort of they're so active and directing us all the time, and a lot of it's unconscious. We're not even aware of it. So I think it's about, for me, my thinking around beliefs is, who are we being in our belief system?
Yes.
Is that person we're being, do we love that person? Do we like that person? Or are those beliefs being shared through kindness and compassion for ourselves?
Yes.
First, because if we can't be kind and compassionate to ourselves, how are we going to go out in the world and share that with others?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, who are we being in our beliefs, and then becoming aware of them. We make so many decisions on, like, every minute decision can be made around a belief system.
Absolutely.
But is it supporting us, or is it holding us back? Is it raising our vibration up, or is it pulling our vibration down?
Absolutely. And, and what's interesting is that people can really find a belief system that they feel really supports them, which is great, but then then believe that everyone needs to adopt the very same belief system that has helped them, and so they can be very rigid in that belief system, and then try to control others, or manipulate others, or condemn and judge others for having different beliefs. Or you can be, accepting and open of others, know that while this belief system supports me, may not necessarily support someone else, and then we can be accepting of other belief systems. And as long as no one else's belief system harms me and allows me to be who I am, and my belief system allows you to be who you are, and it's not, then we can move still within the consciousness of love and unity consciousness, even if we have different beliefs. So I think looking at about how we apply those beliefs, and then what do we believe about those beliefs, so we can have this meta awareness of that. And it's always really important to understand that even if we feel we have a belief system that kind of encapsulates our worldview, makes sense of our whole world, so it's like like a grand unifying theory that makes a sense of life, world, and the everything, even then we should be aware that we do not know what we do not know. And that's what they call within psychology unconsciously incompetent. So it's unconscious what you do not know or not capable of. So and that's different from being consciously incompetent, when you know that there are things that you don't know. And I think I know, starting on a spiritual journey, when all of a sudden you go, wow, now the world makes so much sense, because now I've discovered these spiritual beliefs. We can sometimes in our naivety fall straight into, well, I know the theory of life, the universe, and everything, and and then not know what we don't know. And I think for me, the more I go along, the more I learn, the more I know what I don't know.
That is so much more.
So sometimes when people say, what do you know? And I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's just, you think of the power even in the medical system, like in most new drugs that they're testing, they'll do a test system where they'll, I'm going to make up some numbers, but they might have 100 that take the new medication that they're testing, and they'll have 100 that take the placebo. Sugar tablet, or let's say it was a tablet. Doing. But quite often the test results will come back with the same results for both groups. So I think it's that, once again, that belief system that I'm taking a medication that's going to support insert testing health issue, and just your belief system actually supports you to feel better and improve. So it's quite powerful what they're capable of doing and how we use it.
What's interesting on that is, the gold standard in that medical research is the double-blind study, where it's, the placebo versus the medication, and in psychology, maybe placebo versus a particular treatment modality. And the how they test for the efficacy of, say, the new drug, let's use that as an example, is that it must have a significant difference over and above the placebo effect itself. And so a new drug can only be approved if it has a significant improvement in the whatever symptom they're looking at over and above the placebo effect. And of course, I have to do all other tests, about minimizing side effects. And, whatever you may think about drugs or medicines or, drug companies and all of that, when we're looking at the placebo, even though there may be a significant difference in improvement from the medication in how they're studying it and how they're measuring it, the placebo effect, I think just about all circumstances, will have the greatest influence on that. So say that the efficacy of a drug is 85%. So in 85% of cases, it reduces the symptoms of whatever it's meant to do. But say about 60% is placebo effect. So there'll be a 60 improvement in the placebo group, but it's just that there's a significant difference between 60 and 85%. So then the drug is classified as being efficacious. So, and yet the placebo effect is dismissed as it's just ignored. It's not studied as a phenomenon within modern medicine, let's put it that way. But when the majority of your effect is coming from the placebo effect, like, you know, we should be studying that. Like, you know, so what is the power of that? And you know, and people who are taking placebo, and there've been cases where they've been taking placebo all along and been improving massively, and then they are subsequently told that actually what you've been taking is the placebo all along. They completely deteriorate because it was the power of their belief in that they were taking something that was powerful. Do you know what? It's also interesting. There have been studies that when people were told that they were going to, that they were actually being given a sugar pill. So that's, you know, usually what they given, it's a sugar pill when it's a placebo. But they're seeing a kind, compassionate doctor or researcher, and they're given that placebo, then they are happy to receive that because it makes them feel better just in the fact that they're taking something for it, even though they're told that it's a placebo. So there's a real, you know, powerful belief around, well, if I take a pill, I'm going to feel better, even if I'm being told that it's a placebo.
And then I'm just thinking about, like, we just grabbed that percentage of 85%.
Yeah, I'm using that for illustrative purposes. That doesn't come from research. Yes.
But also it makes me wonder, like, of that 85%, what actually reacted just because of the placebo type effect, like their belief system?
Yeah, well, like it could be 60%, like I said. And I think I seem to recall a 60% number, but I can't recall where I read it, you know, where it came from. So I don't cite me on it.
No, we were just using like hypotheticals. But my thoughts are, how many of those people that were on the real drug actually improved just because they, you know, the same as what the placebo, the belief system. Wasn't actually the drug. Like, so we're such complex human beings. From every perspective. And I just think that beliefs is a great place to, like, do a bit of self-examination. And see what sort of beliefs we can tweak. I mean, look, we got a lot of our belief systems from our parents, our teachers, our leaders in community. But I mean, most of those were done out of love or caring, nature wanting to keep you safe or supported. They didn't force those beliefs on us as children to do damage. What they believed will get you through and keep you alive crossing the road, or all those different rules which were turned into beliefs. In childhood. And then those beliefs from our parents come from possibly their parents and their influential people in their lives and their parents and their grandparents. And so a lot of it will come down through DNA structures as well. So they're pretty powerful little fellas, those beliefs.
They are powerful. And having worked for over 15 years in child protection, I can tell you that even parents who can do terrible things to their children may often believe that they're doing it for the child's own good, and then they're doing it because they love them. Not all cases, but you know, where particularly the cases around overly strict disciplinarians, and I mean that their physical discipline has gone into the realms of, you know, serious physical abuse, or serious neglect, or emotional abuse, some of them can do it because they believe they're doing that for the best and highest good for that child, so that they can come into the same beliefs they have as a parent in how to be in the world. And so they may shame their child, they may abuse their child, they may psychologically and mentally abuse their child. And it's doing it because they believe it's in that child's best interest. So our beliefs can be very powerful. So we can be objectively doing harm, even when we believe that we're doing good. And that's exactly what you're saying about, how are you being as you believe, how are you in, I think the litmus test for me is, are you in the consciousness of love or are you not? So in your belief, are you within the consciousness of love, and are you implementing that in the consciousness of love, or are you not? So you're coming from a fear-based belief, or is it coming from love? And and everything love should be our guide. And so this for me is the litmus test about whether it's harmful or whether it's beneficial.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that's probably a great time to welcome the keepers in and get their perspective on our conversation. What do you think?
That would be wonderful.
Get some water.
Welcome, dear ones. What an interesting conversation.
Well, thank you and welcome. It's been a little while since we've seen you or spoke with you in this format, so it's great to have us all back together again.
All in divine timing. The energy of March is very supportive in moving forward with all projects. So here we are.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
So our conversation and our name, the vibration in belief.
Yes.
What do you think about that first? And is it supportive of what the Council of Light and Ariavea would like to bring through to us today?
Firstly, happy to adopt that as a theme. Know that we are never restricted by a theme, but we can be contained by it in the sense of it is a safe container through which energy and information may flow. And then this container is a nebulous fluid one that is flexible and can take us into domains wherever we wish to flow. And we use litmus tests of, is it in your best and highest good? And when we use that litmus test, it is in the best and highest good from your soul perspective.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yes. So not what someone else thinks is in your best and highest good, but what your soul knows to be in your best and highest good. So whether it's for you personally, dear one, or for anyone who is watching, and in this eternal moment of now receiving this energy and this information flow from us and from the council and from Ariavea.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
So in terms of what we think, let us broaden that question. What do we observe? What do we observe? We observe that your reality is shaped by what you believe. So your perception of the reality is going to be molded into how you believe the world to be with you. It shapes how your beliefs about yourself and your identity. It can shape your personality. And let us say personality is largely a human-made construct, because not necessarily the essence of who you really are. And the closer you are to your true self and embodying your true self, the more you can express that essence, but the less of that true self you're able to express or embody or reveal, the more you are in the realms of personality and what you would call ego. So we're going to, again, what we have done previously is separate the term ego from the separate self. To have a human experience, you must have a sense of a separate self. And so you may think of that as a lower self, but a separate self is a useful term. You need to have the experience of you being separate from others. In other words, being a distinct individual being, different from another being. So you can call it a differentiated self, if that is a better term. It is more an accurate term, but it may be a mouthful for some. So separate self or differentiated self is useful and necessary in your human experience. It is why you are here, to have that experience of yourself as differentiated and unique. Now, when you're able to move into integration with your divine self and integrate human and divine, here the alchemy is the true self, your true essence. Your true essence is love, and your true essence is light. And then you go beyond the realm of belief systems. Previously, you may need belief systems to support you and serve as the constructs for your reality and provide the framework for how you see and perceive the world and experience it and experience yourself. But as you ascend into mastery, the more you release these belief systems and come into the divine truth. And then it's not a belief system, it is just an observation of what is.
Yeah.
From the highest truth. So know, dear ones, that even as your belief system moves closer and closer to this one truth, it is still an integration, an interaction, a synthesis of that divine truth and what you are needing in your human experience to support your constructs of the world. We could not share everything that we observe and see from our perspective because it would not serve you, dear ones. It would be confusing and it would not be in your best and highest good, because from your perspective in the physical experience, it does not support you.
Yeah.
Indeed, in this case, you can be thankful that there are things that you do not know, because you cannot know them from your experience in the way that we would experience them.
And we are on, planet Earth having the human experience. So yes, a lot of these things we've got to uncover for ourselves, I feel.
We never, even in readings with Vicky, when someone books in an Akashic reading, or whether it's an Akashic healing or whatever the session it may be, we would never reveal to anyone that which is not in their best and highest good to know. And sometimes it is because you need to discover that for yourself. That is the purpose why you're here. Why would we rob you of that experience when you're here for that experience? So that is something else as well. So understand that there are many layers to this understanding of what truth are you connecting into. Is it a distortion of truth? It is a one truth. It is the one truth filtered through your human experience. And that's okay, dear ones. You must have a human experience.
Thank you.
But yes, certainly you can, in the human experience, looking across the broader human collective, there are varying gradations of those beliefs and whether they are loving and whether they are harmful and actively harmful in some cases, yes.
And that's what I was discussing with Vicky earlier, is like going within and seeing, am I being kind and compassionate to myself?
Yes.
In acting out that that particular belief that I might be in the moment as well. Right. So that's sort of part of it for me, is looking at my own reaction to my own beliefs.
Yes.
How I show up in the world and go, oh, sometimes you don't even realize that you've got a belief creating an outcome in your life.
Yes. It is that unconscious incompetence that Vicky spoke of. It is unconscious. It is not in your awareness. This is why consciousness is everything.
Yeah.
So what we would say is, when you can fully accept that there will always be things that you do not know yet, but accept that is part of your human experience. What you can then adopt, we like Vicky's litmus test. We agree with that. From a human perspective, that is the best question to be asking. Does this come from love or does it not?
Mm.
So any belief system, even the most elegant, the most comprehensive, the one that seems to offer the answers to life, the universe, and everything, if it does not come from love and is not founded and its underlying premise is of love, then it is not a belief within the consciousness of love, and therefore ultimately not in your best and highest good.
Mm. Well, one simple little one that I'd like to bring up was our physical expression versus our energetics. So for me, last week, I did a vision board workshop here locally. So I was running around on my feet from 8 o'clock in the morning till I got home at 4 or 5 that night. So I'd been running around, organized, like prepared the event, worked through the event with all my beautiful people that came along to that. So I was on my feet the whole day. So when I got home, I was tired. And a girlfriend texted me and said, how are you feeling? And I thought, I'm feeling good, but my legs are aching. And straight away, if we go to like our spiritual tests and our beautiful books like the Louise L. Hay, there's another couple of people that I look at, and you look up the symptom and you look up legs aching or whatever. And I just know legs are about moving forward in life, that sort of thing. Is there like a differentiation between my legs are just aching because I've been running around all day, or is it because I am moving forward in life, or is it because I'm not moving forward in the right direction? Now we have that thinking about legs. Is that just an energetic thing that's coming out in my body because my legs were aching that day? Or is it just physically, I just had a big day, my legs are aching?
Let's unpack that. But what we'll say before we even do that, we want to finish a last little piece from what we were speaking earlier in terms of being a litmus test around, is it of love? When you have anyone who is proposing a belief to you, we would be the observer of their energy, which includes the observer of their behavior. Mm-hmm. And so if they do not come from love, then we would question whether their belief does.
Yeah.
So again, this litmus test of does it come from love or not can be a robust one. And you can look at it from a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. So let us lay the basis of that. Now, let's come to the basis of your question. Firstly, you can have a belief system that legs are about moving forward, and you can then say, my legs are aching, I am not moving forward, and then this becomes your belief. You've now created your reality that you're not moving forward, even if you were.
Yeah.
So just like referring to your books, that's influencing your beliefs. This is what it represents for me. So therefore, this is what I believe. So you may go, oh, how am I not moving forward? Now you start to examine your life. Where am I not looking for? It's now you're viewing your world from that lens. Instead of being open, not to say it's inaccurate, what we would say is, the book says this. What does my spirit say? What does my spirit say about this? Is it that my legs are not moving forward? No. In your case, we would say it was because your legs were supporting you in life. And in doing life, sometimes you have to be in the energy of doing. And this was more than what is usual for them. And so it was over and above what they are used to. Now, that being said, if you are like, let's use some of the yogic masters who are able to transcend the physical laws, and you are able to run energy through your body so effectively that the energy from the earth supports and sustains you and nourishes you so completely that you could be on your feet endlessly and still be sustained and energized. That would be a different experience. So for you, dear one, you can say, okay, it's not necessarily that I'm ungrounded, but how can I be even more connected to the energy of Gaia so that she can support and sustain me? How else can I open the energetics of my legs and my feet? The chakras in my feet open? Are the meridians in my legs running through open? This can then be an exploration and an impetus for saying, no, let's be curious about this. Let's be open. This is the art of being mindful, being open and curious and accepting and loving. You say, whoa, what is, first of all, let's be loving to our legs. They are aching, regardless of my judgment of whether they're about them aching or not. I'm going to be loving to myself and to my legs, and I'm going to raise them up and rest them. That is correcting into and moving into balance of your action and now your rest. So that is just correcting that temporary imbalance. The temporary imbalance being into the action, and now you're correcting that but moving into balance. And overall, you've got that flow of balance. And then once you've decided what else that it is that I can support myself and being loving towards myself, you can be open and curious and accepting. Well, we talked about accepting instead of judging that they're aching. So we're not going to say, oh, I'm not a yogic master, or, oh, that was too hard, I don't want to do that again. When you're explaining this in a very positive, as a positive experience, you don't want to taint that experience by saying, well, that's too hard, I don't want to do that again, when it was obviously a positive experience. And so then you can be curious and say, what else is it revealing to me? Is it about moving forward? That doesn't feel right to me. It may be about something else.
Yeah, and that's what I felt. I thought, no, I've just had a big day and I'm finally out in the world doing what I really want to do. So it was like, it was a passionate, like, legs are aching. I'm give myself a pat on the back for putting in such a beautiful day and meeting such beautiful people through the day. But I was just thinking, but that's really great. I'm going to have a go at that, like talking to my body and asking, opening up those meridians. We don't talk to our bodies enough.
No. And so we
granted.
And listen to your words. I finally got out and did what I love. So how long has it been since you did what you love in that sense? So you have gone through a long period where you felt that you weren't doing what you love.
Yeah.
So this is the result of that. Your legs are like, whoa, we have to catch up with you doing what you love. Yeah. You weren't doing what you loved before. Now you are doing what you love.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be an energetic adjustment.
Great. I love that. Yeah.
So if we're going to look at moving forward, we could say for you, that was about moving forward and finally doing what you love.
Yeah.
So, and let us break this down further. Those who train at the gym would attest that they look for certain signs in their body that is body muscular aches, to know that they have worked out, that they have expanded those muscles, and that therefore their workout was effective. If they were to look up the pain and see what it means, does it mean that they're not moving forward? No. We would say that in that case, it is all about enjoying the physical sensations of your body and helping them to expand into greater capacities for more. So if someone was to run a marathon and they had tired legs, they may instead experience the tired legs with a sense of satisfaction, because their belief is, well, I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And you can then be grateful to your legs for supporting you in life, as well as helping you to move forward.
No, I love that. It's just so many more layers to everything, including our bodies.
Yes.
And tying beliefs back into them again as well.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, I just thought I would share with you, we had a question come in from, I think it was through Vicky's community.
Yes.
And I thought I'd share it with you and then see who would like to answer it, whether you all want to answer it, but it's quite open. But the question is, and this is word for word from the person that submitted it: were you human once upon a time? And then what? So I think that then what was like, how did you move from that experience to where you are now?
Yes. It'll be useful and interesting for each of us to answer, so you can get a variety of responses. Now, for us, no, we were never human. And for most of us within the angelic realms, this is the case. We would say that occasionally an angel will choose a physical experience for a very specific purpose, and maybe for a very singular lifetime. What is our experience is, when you have the higher realms and all there is love and light, so we are in the energy of our divine source creator as emanations of that energy. Our experiences are very different, and we do not have bodies. We do not have the sense of ourselves as separate as you do, as differentiated as you do. Now, let us say that we have some degree of differentiation because we have an identity as the keepers of the keys, and that there are 12 of us in this grouping. And so even though we work together, and you may, from your human experience, you would experience as like a mind meld. But it is, and we're seeking explanations for you to understand it from your physical perspective. It is, we both experience our connectedness, as well as a degree of differentiation. And the closer we get, all of us, to the divine creator, the less differentiation there is, until we move fully into that oneness and return to source. So we can have our experiences as angelic beings, but we do not have individual desires like you would have. And so it's a very different experience to that differentiation. It is more subtle and nuanced than you would be able to experience, even anyone on your earth plane. So what we would say to that is we honor the human experience. We have not had the human experience. We have chosen, for there needed to be those of us who stayed within the consciousness of the Creator to support you who is having the human experience. And so we hold that role and we honor that role and we love that role. And we honor you in having the human experience. For us to share more on that, we'll go into realms that may not be fully comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like we said, there is things that we would share from our perspective that would not be in your best and highest good to know. But for all intents and purposes, know that we in the higher realms hold the truth of who you are, even when you have forgotten. Mm. And there needs to be someone who remembers, no matter what.
And we thank you for that. We thank you for your service. It's like,
thank you for yours.
Yeah, it's the microcosm of the macrocosm, isn't it? Really, we are all one. Yes. And that is very real. It is just the experience of that oneness differs. Mm. Yes. Okay, so we'll ask everyone that question, and yes, it definitely give us an all-rounded result and outcome for the person that's asked and for us all.
Yes, perfect. So we will step back and allow the Council of Light to come through.
Wonderful, thank you.
You know that we will return at the end, as we always do. Welcome, dear ones. We are the Council of Light.
Wonderful, and welcome to our gathering today. It's wonderful to have you here.
Yes.
And like the keepers explained, and Vicky explained earlier, that you're our planetary Council of Light.
Yes, yes.
So would you like to share with everyone that comes to this what exactly is the Council of Light, or any information that will support us in this human journey?
Yes. First, let us define what we are. So we support the divine plan here on Earth. We are a group of beings, some of us ascended masters, what you would call ascended masters, some of us angelic beings, yes. Some you may call, let us call light beings. That is the easiest term for you to know. And some would call the planetary logos it as Sanat Kumara. Now, he is, some would call the leader of this group, the head honcho. Mm-hmm. Let us say that we all have our own differentiated roles in this group. And he is beyond time, and so therefore has been here the longest, or from the beginning.
Okay.
So while there, of course, others we are all eternal in truth, but others who have been supporting the earth since the beginning where do you begin when there's no beginning? So when you understand us as this group of beings who support the planet and the unfolding of the divine plan of love and light here on earth, we have variously been either always from the other side of the veil, or some of us in human bodies who have ascended into our mastery and earned, in that sense, our role here upon the Council of Light. Now, there is many things that you would not understand, yet what we would say, and we are sharing messages that go beyond our words, that each will receive what they are ready to receive. From our perspective, we work within unity consciousness. We work within Christ or Buddha consciousness. So that which you know as the Buddha, that which you know as the planetary Logos Sananda, planetary Christ rather, Sananda, is here. He who was Yeshua in physical body. Lady Nada, who was Mary Magdalene in physical body. Lady Venus, who was not in physical body. She is here, not here on this earth in any case. Sant Kumara, no physical body, no, not human in that sense. Archangel Raphael is here, and Archangel Michael, no, they have not been human. Mother Mary is here, and of course she was. Saint Germain is here, and of course he was too. And there are others besides. Now, some of which you may call gods and goddesses. Let us say that we are of the Elohim. And the Elohim means gods and goddesses, or gods, small g. We are not the one God, the one creator. Some of us have chosen to reveal ourselves upon the earth, even when we weren't human. And this has been through the ancient mystery schools and the ancient temples. But there was much energetic preparation for that. Now you may experience us as you connect into the gateway of your heart. As you enter that sacred temple, that temple of your heart, and move through the chambers to extend all the way into the inner sanctum, the Holy of Holies. There you will find us and experience us. Now, we have just this week said in one of the channelings that Vicky has shared that we are seeking to connect more and more with people individually, as well as what we do collectively. And that for some people may take years of preparation, and for others it will be fast and rapid, and that neither one is better than the other. Let us take Vicky as the example. We first visited her in 2018. And so unfamiliar was our energy to her at that time that she was literally knocked off her feet and needed to lay down, and to even get words out to transmit the messages that we were transmitting was like a huge force through her jaw. And that fatigued her afterwards. And it was such a powerful experience that it took hours, days to fully recover. You know, dear one, that we came through last year as she was presenting, facilitating, and channeling for the Integrating Human Divine workshop series.
Yeah.
And even though that was presented with the Keepers of the Keys, that course we came through for an activation. So that now we're talking about 2022. So it's been a 5-year intervening period. And she was activated as you all were. But her activation, each activation was very specific to what you each needed to receive. For her, it was preparing her body and her consciousness to be able to receive us and channel us more fully. And it took her 3 months to integrate that experience, that activation. And it took her then even more time until the end of the year before she began channeling us. Let us say channeling us more consistently. And now we more consistently are able to come through. And now this is the first time beyond a few minute introduction in these channeling episodes where we are able to share and transmit our messages. This has been her energetic preparation. Now we could go into details around what unfolded in those 5 years. Let us say that she needed to release all that was not love and all that was not light within her. Experiences of trauma, both this life, past life, and ancestral, needed to be cleared and transmuted and shifted out. And it is not to say that she is not requiring more and more fine-tuning. This will be something she will continue to do. And yet, she is now able to deliver a full channel of our messages for you, for all of you, in a more conscious way, as the conscious channel that she is. So we have woven that question and the answer to that question into the answer around who we are. And we have also woven this greater call, which is why we are coming through today, to be able to connect more and more with each of you. For some of you, our energy can be overwhelming. And we are now transmitting in a way that it will minimize any overwhelm.
Okay.
What we will also say is, for some of us, our energy is either to what you would call high, let us say more subtle, and you cannot feel us. And so you will seek to connect with us, but cannot feel us because we are too far from where you are. And neither one is wrong or right. It is how it is. And in your seeking to connect with us, know that you are opening the doors to that connection, which includes opening the doors to that preparation.
And how would you advise anyone watching is supposed to bring in any energy and any guides that we want to work with? Is it simply stating that intention? And like for me, myself, I like to say good morning every morning and welcome in I might say specific names. Other times I'll just say all the crew that's here for my highest good.
Yes.
Whatever I want to do in that moment, and welcome them in, and I'm ready to receive what's here for my highest good. Is that as simple as people can start out?
Intention is everything. So setting intentions for who you wish to connect with is the very beginning. And what we would add is be clear in your intentions of who you wish to connect with. In other words, you do not necessarily need to be specific, although you can be, but clear in that you only wish to, well, what is in your best and highest good to connect with, only that which is of divine love and divine light. And for Vicky, that means not connecting into the astral realms, but only into the higher realms. And we know that that is coming up as a discussion topic. So while some do choose to connect into the astral realms, this is Vicky's choice. It is her natural connection into the higher realms, or we are. So be clear in how and with whom you wish to connect. So whether it's an open invitation, if it's an open invitation, be discerning. An open invitation to only that which is of divine love and divine light, or as you stated, only that which is in my best and highest good. Now, we know that you've had discussions about this previously, about having gatekeepers for who you're connecting with. And for Vicky, Archangel Michael has served that role, but he is one of her, what you would call guardian angels. He has always been with her. For others, it may be your higher self. You ask your higher self to be that gatekeeper, and that is just as effective as any other divine being being your gatekeeper. So adopt the gatekeeper and thank your higher self, or whoever it may be, for being that gatekeeper and only allowing that which is of divine love and divine light, or only that which is in your best and highest good to connect with. And then you may see who shows up. When Vicky was opening up to the divine, she would sit in meditation every morning before she would even got out of bed. And she would ask, who's with me? And go through a process of finding out who's with her that day, just like you said. Now she also does this before she goes to bed. Who's with me tonight?
Yeah, I did the same.
And because she works with us and the keepers of the keys all the time, she knows that we're always with her. She can feel us. She knows that Archangel Michael and Mother Mary, as her two guardian angels, are always with her. And yet there may still be a question, like who's really working with her individually, not just as the council. So Sananda may step forward. And Mary Magdalene may step forward as Mary Magdalene. And it may be Mother Isis, who's also on this council of light. And it depends on what she's needing to move through, where her energy is at, what she's requiring, and what she's calling in. And we use this as a demonstration for you all to then move through your day asking who's with you, or being specific and calling in a connection with whether it be one of us or whether it be your personal guides. Calling in your higher self. Let that be a standard.
Yeah.
In other words, standardize into every day in that they are always with you, but calling in that connection. Because again, they are here with us in the higher realms, and you may not always feel their connection. They may be too subtle for you.
And I think it's nice to know that, you know, our higher self and guides are always with us. But I think in the simple intention of calling them in, it brings it to life, brings the connection and creates that communication place that they are with us. They are supporting us.
With your personal guides, they're never not with you. Calling them in is about reestablishing the feeling of that connection. It can also open up greater permission for them to support you, depending on how you word it. Because remember, there's free will, and we're not interfering in your free will. So you must ask for any assistance that you are requiring.
Yeah. And I got to be careful with my asking too sometimes. Like I know at Christmas time I had all the family here. I've just moved back to the coast. I said, right, I'll do Christmas at my place and Christmas family lunch. And I thought, I want to have it all natural with gum leaves. And I went out the front, looked at my trees, and I thought, these gum leaves are all so high up. How am I going to get any? Like still green and not dried and fallen down. And I thought, oh, well, I'll get some gum leaves from somewhere. And 2 days later, I come home and a massive big branch had fallen down. I was like,
there you are.
I have to be clearer in my intention here.
Yes.
And it happened again the other day when I was doing the vision board workshop. I thought, oh, it'd be lovely to have some gum leaves on the table amongst all the beautiful fresh foods that I was serving. And sure enough, I went out the front a few hours later. Here's this branch, but I had clearly said just a small this beautiful little smaller branch was sitting there waiting. I went, right, I'm getting clearer with my asking.
Yes. What we would observe is knowing the right questions to ask is an art form in and of itself. Yes.
And I thought, oh, where'd this branch come from? This massive branch is right across my front yard. No, I didn't think about it, moved it and started working out how I was going to take care of it. And a few days later I went, oh my gosh, Kerry, you called that in.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, funny. But now just tracking back, do you want to go into that astral realm? Because I had it on my list. Because Vicky shared with me through the week that she had lost a dear family member. I believe it was one of her uncles.
Yes.
And, I'm not sure how the story goes, but basically, as I don't know if he had just passed or was coming to the time when he was passing, and Vicky received a visit from her grandmothers that are on the other side of the veil.
Yes.
For her assistance, that he was struggling and he needed help. So the reason I wanted to ask about it was Vicky then spent the next roughly 4 weeks working in the astral realm, supporting her uncle.
Yes.
Was saying how uncomfortable place it was for her. It wasn't a place that she would like to stay. She prefers connecting with the higher realms. But my reason for bringing it in is for him to be struggling as he's crossing over. Is that also part of our belief systems? Like some of us might believe we pass over and that's it. There's nothing more. Some of us believe if we've done kind things and been a good person, we're going to go to God. And, you know, we all have those different belief systems that we have about what happens when we do cross over or pass away. Could you just talk to us a bit about that area?
Yes. So let's share a little bit about Vicky's experience and we can lay the basis for what you are asking. So yes, her grandmothers came through and she could feel their presence even before she knew her uncle was dying. And because she doesn't normally connect with them, and this may seem odd to someone who's like, well, she's connecting with the Council of Light, but does not connect with her own ancestors in that way. The ancestral realms is an area in which she has not been particularly comfortable with, as we shared. And while she has mediumship abilities, she has chosen not to connect into them, because her experience is that once she does, other spirits want to come through. And so she likes to keep that door closed, and that's why she doesn't normally connect with her ancestors, whether ancestors or family members. Now, she could feel their presence, and for a few days was like, well, I should find out what they were wanting. They must have a message for me, but didn't get around to it. And then found out that her uncle was indeed dying. And then she realized why they were there. Mm. And while the mother of her uncle, her maternal grandmother, was more with her uncle, her paternal grandmother is not related to her uncle, was with her constantly and sharing messages. And that was about him needing, his soul needing support to help him transition and move into the light, because he was holding beliefs that he would not be worthy of the light and that he would be judged. Now, know that this was his own judgment of himself. Mm. And so at first he would not even accept the presence of his own family members who had crossed over to support him on a soul level. So first Vicky had to support him in that way. Mm-hmm. And this was all work in the astral realms. And so she did that. And this was an unfolding process. She would do a bit here and a bit there. But it meant, as you said, over 4 weeks, she was connected into the astral realms. And for those who follow her will notice that her channeling dropped and her daily messages dropped, because she needs to connect to us in the higher realms to bring our messages through. And so while she was able to do that for sessions, it fatigued her because she was no longer naturally connected into the higher realms. She was connecting into the astral realms. So her capacities shifted, and including capacity for physical day-to-day things, because she felt like she was between worlds. Now, ultimately, once he did cross over, and we have him here, he was confused, firstly, and we will not share everything for public consumption. But we will say is that he again needed support to move forward into the light. And Vicky provided that support. She stood with him etherically within the astral realms to help him cross into the light. Now, as you said, it was his belief system that he could not do so. And his belief system was that he would be judged and deemed unworthy, and that he was not a good person. This was his belief about himself. And so some of that work that she was doing was helping to heal that belief and help him to accept his worthiness on a soul level. This was not through conscious work with him, so that he can move into the light. Now, while other things unfolded, it was a total period of 4 weeks, and she held the space for the family as things within their ancestral line, including ancestral wounding, came up. She held space for the family as this moved through, and then including the 10 days afterwards that it took for his funeral to occur. And then a few days later, she went into meditation. And while we will say that she had already seen him cross into the light and see him unite with family members and see him laughing with joy, she knew that he was all okay. And then subsequently going through his soul process as you would normally do as you transition. In that meditation, we were able to support her to plug out of the astral realms and plug back in to the higher realms. And for her, that was a relief in her body. And now she felt the energy flow of the divine again. And then all of a sudden, like a switch was turned on, and she began channeling her messages on a more consistent basis.
Yep.
Yes. And she had energy to do that, not just support her clients, but do that as well. Because think of it as it's an additional service that is a gift to everyone that takes her time and energy, but she shares with her heart. And it is part of her soul mission to do this. So we share that experience so you can understand the different levels, you will call it as levels of consciousness and of dimensional realities of what you could connect into. Some feel natural and comfortable and at home in the astral realms and able to navigate with ease. And we would say is that their mission includes that work on the astral realms. This is not Vicky's mission. So she would not do this for anybody else, only for a family member. And she was gifted a synchronistic opportunity when a dear client saw her for an Akashic reading here in this space. And she had been calling in the death doula. And of course, this person was studying to be a death doula. Mm-hmm. And there's been some cross-fertilization of understandings and wisdom around that. So in returning to the belief systems, your beliefs create your reality, both here in the physical realm as well as there. The difference there is that your beliefs and even your thoughts create instantaneously, whereas here you have the buffer of time in moving through the physical density. So anyone who believes, like you said, goes into nothingness will at first go into nothingness because that is what they believe. And they will stay there as long as they believe that that is what their experience will be, until they are aware of themselves in that nothingness, and then will start to look around and say, well, if I'm having an experience of the nothingness, then who or what am I? Then they will start to notice that there is other things within that nothingness. So therefore, nothingness cannot exist. And then there will be the revelation.
Once again, it's about being curious, isn't it? Like,
yes,
getting to that place of curiosity.
Yes. Some souls, unfortunately, are earthbound because they are afraid to move forward because they believe they will be judged and condemned to hell. And so they have therefore created their own hell by being stuck here on earth and unable to experience the light. Notice it is not God's or the divine's judgment, but their own. Of themselves. You judge yourselves. We do not judge you. But know that regardless of your belief, ultimately, your experience will be to move into the light. What can help is your family's and loved ones' prayers for you.
That was going to be my next question. What can we do? Yeah.
And so it is why there are rituals around memorials and services and the lighting of candles, so that you can support the dearly beloved soul to move forward into the light. And the light is open to all, without exception. Now, no, as Yeshua said, there are many mansions in my Father's kingdom. Not everyone is going to the same place. If a soul needs rehabilitation, there will be spaces for that. If a soul needs learning, there are spaces for that. If a soul wishes to enjoy the reunion with family, you can take as long as you wish. It is all in the best and highest good of that soul. Yes.
Oh, that's been an interesting dive into the other side of the veil, we'll call it. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this conversation. I have a million more questions, but we might have to make that a specific topic.
Let us say before we move on from the topic of the astral realms, for those who choose to connect in with them, the astral realms, know that there's still duality within the astral realms. So there is still light and all that is not light. So this is where the greatest care and discernment is necessary for those who are connecting into the astral realms. So there are trickster energies and lower entities that you do not wish to connect with. And so be discerning, have your gatekeepers, have your processes, be clear in your intentions as you do this.
It's the same within my shamanic practices as well. We go into the three worlds, the three different worlds, and we have to do that same work of protecting ourselves. And then we come back out, to make sure that we leave everything behind that could have attached to us while we've been in that space.
Yes.
Same sort of work. But one question, I don't know whether we can answer it here, is for those that are trapped, we'll call it trapped in that cycle of belief that they're not worthy to cross over, and they're trapped into the earth plane. And I felt it heavily when I was in the outback. I managed a club area that was like the central place for everyone to come. And I could actually feel people that had departed were back there having drinks with everyone else while they were gathering there to have a few drinks of an evening in the heat.
Yes.
In the heat. But is there anything, how can they move from that? Is it only with intervention from us on the human side, like intervention or support and love from the human side that can help them get out of that? Or is it just something they have to just move through, that obviously they've got angelic support as well? Yeah, for those that are worried about loved ones that might be trapped, because now that's bringing up, I wonder if my uncle so-and-so's trapped in the astral realm. What support is there that there is going to be some growth for them, or is it a matter of people that are actually, like, I know there's one person, I just can't think of his name, does wonderful work in that area here on this planet. I can't think of his name, but he works with Arcturians as well. What is it that we can know that will give us a little bit of ease that will support those that are trapped?
Let us say the entrapment is not a forever entrapment. It's not the trapping the way you would see it. So it is not like we have trapped them. This is not true. For these departed souls, can be simply a matter of decision and choice to move into the light. As we said, some are afraid to. There can be human intervention. So there are people who do specifically this work and help souls cross over.
Wayne Brewer was the name I was thinking of. Yeah.
Okay. And so there are people who specifically do this. if anyone's worried about a loved one, what we would say is, do not go into fear, because fear will feed them staying rather than they going, if that is indeed the case. But if you instead support them in the light, send them love, pray for them, there's a reason they say pray for their souls, then you indeed are supportive, therefore, of them being able to move into the light. And therefore, you can even communicate with them if you choose to, if you wish to say that they can indeed do this. Vicky had no training or experience in doing what she did. She was just being told he needs help. And she was just being shown what she needed to do. Now, it is not to say that is for everyone. Do not take this on, because this is when you are really connecting with some energies that are not necessarily of the light.
Leaving yourself vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do not have any expertise in this area, then connect with the experts. And Vicky would be clear in that she's not the one.
Yeah.
This is not the work she does. So find people who do this if you wish to connect with them and find out some more information. This can come under the realms of house clearing or property clearing, but you're right, they are attracted to the energy that they departed in. So alcohol is one of those, substances may be another. It could be the energy of anger. It could be the energy of hatred. And so these very dense vibrations will then attract those spirits who are in that consciousness. Yes, that's the energetic attraction. Now, know that ultimately, in truth, no one will be trapped here on earth. So do be careful, dear ones, to not move into fear around all of this. The reason why we bring this up is so that you can be discerning of what you are connecting with. Because an entity can say they're of the light and not be. So until you know the difference, then we would caution you away from doing that work.
Eventually, where I was, I had to leave. I couldn't,
Yes.
like, it's just uncomfortable. Like, I would feel them every time.
It feeds the energy of it, yes. Of gambling, of alcohol, or substance use. Absolutely, yes. It feeds the energy.
Yeah, and like, that was many years ago. Hindsight, I could have just put myself in my own bubble and just sent love out. But that's the knowing I have now, like after years and years of working through my own personal beliefs and learning my ways of looking after myself.
Well, Vicky's preference would be to not go. She'd be like, she can feel that energy of not just departed, but of the living in that energy, and does not like it. And so she just stays away. And so everyone's going to find their own way through that. So let us return to a broader understanding and return to a broader discussion of consciousness of love. For that is what we're here to do, and bring through the messages that we are wishing to bring through. What we would say is release any fears. Let us move into the light. Know all is love in truth. But your experience of that may be different according to your level of consciousness and what reality you are in. So from our perspective, we see all that is unfolding upon the planet, and we see the love and the light that is being anchoring here in Gaia. And this is what we are doing, and this is what we are wishing: greater partnership and co-creation with you all whoever chooses to take up this invitation. You will know if you're one of those. And then you can move into the broader understanding that as you awaken, as you become the love and the light that you are, you help to anchor this love and light here upon the earth. And so your awakening becomes Gaia's awakening becomes yours. And as Gaia ascends, the galaxy ascends, and then therefore the universe ascends. All is connected and all can be in flow. So while we have said before, love has already won, to move this into your physical experience of that is how you move through your physical reality. So if you make your experience only that of love, then your belief must be that of love.
Mm.
And in that case, you can see even the troubles of this world with compassion, with kindness, with love, and with truth. And in that case, as you hold the space for love in your bodies, while you can see all that is unfolding, you help bring all of that into the vibration of love. You help to be the alchemist in helping that to transform and transmute. And when you do that, you help to create heaven here on earth. You are the ones, therefore, dear ones, helping to anchor that new earth reality. It is a reality here waiting for you if you are ready to move into that consciousness and into that belief state. And so if you believe you are able to access the new earth energies, so you'll be able to do so. But know also, the ego can be tricky. And some will declare that this is the new earth energies, that this is 5D consciousness, what we call the consciousness of love. And yet, you look at the whole of their being, and the whole of their being is on alignment and integrity with that. So be discerning with your human brothers and sisters and what they declare. If someone is in the consciousness of love, or what you would call 5D consciousness, they will live and breathe that. They will not have to declare it. So for yourselves, dear one, to energetically prepare your bodies to anchor this love, this light, which is the essence of you, which is what your higher selves already are. And what your role is to release all that is not love and all that is not light from your bodies and your consciousness. Because you may think of that as the clouds covering up the light. And as you do that healing and that clearing work, it parts the clouds and allows the light to radiate through. And then you may shine your light upon the earth. And there will be times when you can maintain this, and times you'll come in and out of this. The path through your spiritual development will depend on how long, how frequently, how consistently you are able to maintain that embodiment of that light of love, regardless of what is going on around you. That is the mastery. So first, claim a state of love. Know what that feels like in your bodies. What does it feel like to be love? What does it feel like to have love flowing through you? And this is first and foremost the energetic attunement that you require. Because if you have not experienced what unconditional love is, what divine love is, then how can you know what it is to be able to declare that you have it? If you've only ever experienced a conditional love, then you will believe that that is love when it is not. And so you may begin, dear ones, by sitting, whether in meditation or in nature, with crystals, with flower essences, with incense, with divine music, with whatever supports you, and ask us, whoever us is that you are calling upon, to fill you with the energy and consciousness and vibration of love, and watch that pour through. And so we'll share a process that Vicky began with. This was when she first began, not on the spiritual path, but truly healing herself. And she would put on a beautiful piece of music. She would intuit what crystals wanted to be with her. And she would call us in. Now, not necessarily the Council of Light then. We're going back a few years. Mm-hmm. So let's go all the way back to 2015, 2016 for her personally. Now, her spiritual journey began in 2005, this lifetime. Took her a while to get to even this point. She had a lot of living of life to do, let us say. But in this process, what she did, she would call on Yeshua, she would call on Mother Mary, and she would call on the archangels. And she would ask them as well as her guides, other guides that were working with her at the time and who are still with her, but she was not yet fully aware of, but she knew that there was a broader team. Mm-hmm. And she would ask them to fill her with love. And she would see them standing before her, like in a semicircle. And from their hearts, our hearts, radiating that love into hers. And she would fill up with that love. She had been starved of love. She had not truly ever experienced love. Not in this way. Mm. And she needed that. Her cup was empty. It was a period of time when she was a single parent to 2 neurodivergent boys, beautiful boys, but unsupported in every way, very isolated as well. And so this was necessary to her. This was her, in many ways, only companionship. And in filling that up, she was able to fill up her whole body until it filled out of her. And so even while she was working in child protection at this point, she was then therefore able to ask this to be radiated out into her day, into her office, and into management, to anyone she had some challenges with, and helped transform that experience until ultimately she needed to go because she was no longer a vibrational match to that space. And she was not, let us say, not even called forth into what she's doing now, but pushed. We pushed her into what she's doing now because she needed to be. The timing was essential. So this was life-changing for her. It's why we are sharing this with you. Now, for many of you, you may have already experienced this. You may have heard of this. You may have even have done this. But to do this on a daily basis is what transformed her life. It is not to say that all of a sudden everything was sunshine, lollipop, and roses. No. Because then what happens is sometimes life can fall apart so it can fall into place. She also had to go through her dark night of the soul as she released all that was not love and light in her body. And that was the extent of the experiences of wounding and trauma that she held from this lifetime, past lifetimes, and through the ancestral lines. But now you may see her and see, how could she do this so easily? Well, there's been a long, hard road to get to where she is. And we are not saying this to say that you necessarily have a long, hard road, but know that if you have had one and you have experienced challenges along the way, know, dear ones, that these times are ending and they are shifting into greater support for you, greater ease for you, and the miracles of grace to visit you. And so we hold this vision for you. And you can call upon us to support you in that vision, or you can, to varying degrees, each one will have a different capacity to be able to hold that vision for themselves. You can certainly do that for yourself, call in your higher self and be fully supported in that capacity. For others, like Vicky, she loves a good team around her. What she calls, or what was told by her team to call, Divine Collective. That is Aria. And some of us who are on the Council of Light are part of Aria. It's again, not separate. That connection helped build the bridge ultimately to the connection that is now the Council of Light. Wow. And so the journey continues.
Yeah.
We share this, dear ones, so that you can see where you may be on your journey, and it may be different yet again. Know that for everyone it is different. Nothing is wrong or right. It is how your journey is unfolding, and you each have your own divine blueprints that has your own divine timing, and there'll be catalysts for that change built within.
And I want to add to it too, like for myself, like the journey I've been on, it's like, it's not like everything becomes rosy in your life all the time. The journey is still uncovering more of ourselves, and we have highs and lows. And after I had an awakening, I thought, oh great, I've got through the dark night of the soul and everything. And then I went into another one a few years later and thought I was done with this stuff, but there was more to release and more to work through. So
yes,
journey, but I have shared before that it's a journey, but it makes it easier to bounce back when challenges do present or things need
yes,
to be released. We can work through it with so much more ease and grace.
absolutely. This is when you can and move through things sometimes instantaneously. And or it could be certainly less in shorter duration of time than you would have before, or less intensity, or it could be as fully as intense, but you bounce back quicker. So look for the differences in that. If you are or have been through a dark night of the soul, know that the experience is you moving into the great spiral to go fully within, to meet all that is not love and not light in you, in your life, in your body, in your consciousness. So therefore, it can be a very dark experience. Know that even if you cannot feel us in your darkness at that time, call upon us, call upon anyone you wish to work with, both human and divine, to support you through that process. Know that you will come out the other side having released that which was not love and not light in your body, so you can more fully embody your light. And no matter how difficult that experience was, you will be grateful for all that you have been able to move through.
Well, I thank you so much. I think the fact that the spiral has been brought into the conversation now is almost like a segue to our Andromedan guests.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm pretty connected with spiral work as well. So
yes.
Thank you for bringing through all your wisdom and sharings with us. Is there anything else you would like to finish up with before we move through to our next guides?
We will say we have said what we wished to say, and we will not be stopping in our communications. Right. If you follow along with Vicky, you will see our communications, whether it's Keepers of the Keys, whether it's us as the Council of Light, or individual members of us. Vicky will channel a message through. So whether that's on a daily basis or the weekly messages or the monthly messages and so on, the moon messages, we will be there. And you too can receive your own messages if you so wish. Remember, there may be an energetic preparation, but if you are able to go into the deepest recesses of your heart, you will find us there. Maybe a journey to be able to do so.
Oh, thank you.
And so from our hearts to yours, all the way in, as far as this energy and message can go, much love.
Right, how are you going? You've had some water?
Yeah, I've had some water, ready to get into Ariavea or connect with them. Yep. And they're coming through. So I'll just tap into their energy now. we would like to say we are tapping into hers or coming into hers. We are Ariavea.
Welcome, and thank you for coming.
Yes.
Sounds
thank you for having us. Well, it is a platform for sharing, is it not?
It is. It
yes.
is. It's wonderful to have you back again. You've been with us a few times now.
Yes, we welcome the opportunity.
So thank you. Okay. Well, the question that we've been sharing with everyone else, as you would have heard, is, were you human once upon a time, and then what? And I think it'll be interesting coming that you're from a different galaxy.
Yes. So human, no. Let us broaden the question to be, have we been in physical bodies? Yes. Yes. In Andromeda, yes. And in other star systems, also, yes. We are now what you would call ascended and no longer in physical bodies. And while we are now star beings working within the order of Melchizedek, we are here to support the collective of humanity and Gaia to ascend just as Andromeda ascended eons ago.
So are you saying that all of everyone that's part of the Andromedan galaxy has ascended to that space, like the whole planet itself and all the beings?
The whole planet and all the beings, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So just as you are in transition now for Gaia to ascend, this will become a planet of ascension. No longer will this be a planet to explore 3D human experience. This will then be held elsewhere. It is Gaia's turn to ascend. And it is why you're in transition and moving to the new earth energies. And let's connect with what's in the best and highest good to share now. For we are here to support that ascension, that awakening process. And we have the benefit of our experience of having already gone through that transition. And as Gaia ascends, it helps the galaxy to ascend, which helps the universe to ascend. And therefore, as you understand, all is connected and inseparable. This supports the ascension and awakening of all. In other words, you're all moving in a time where you are seeking greater and greater connection to Source, to the Creator. And as you do so, you claim or reclaim a divine essence within you. And then you become the creators that you are in this reality. Now, you are still doing this on a physical level. There will come a time when you will move into even higher planes. But that is far too ahead to even contemplate. Let us focus on the here and now and what you are needing to move through. For we're here to support you and therefore welcome our opportunities to share the benefit of our experience and our wisdom with you.
Just thinking about the whole ascension process with Gaia, like at the moment we're seeing a lot of devastation on our planet, like environmentally, like with what's going on over in Turkey and Syria, and the storms that we've had come through on our eastern seaboard of Australia that actually didn't end up doing us too much damage, but it moved out and really gave it to New Zealand. They had a lot loss of life and devastation over there. Is all this, everyone's like talking about, it's part of the ascension process of Gaia, going through all this release of energy and these things that are going on. How does this all tie in with the planet and what's going on with storms and floods, fires, that type thing?
Good question. It is an energy correction. Now, if you can understand, much has been spoken about within your religions and within your mythologies of the Great Flood, the fall of Atlantis, or the fall from the Garden of Eden. Now, let us be more specific and speak to what has been affected upon Gaia, upon planet Earth, and where there has been damage done to her. You can see that there is a cause and an effect. So just as you in your physical bodies are needing to release all that is not love and all that is not light from your bodies, and you go through that spiritual process that can be like your dark night of the soul and can be turbulent, stormy, and challenging. Similarly, Gaia is needing to release and transmute all that has been held within her. And some of this will be through earthquakes and through storms. Now, we are not saying this to move you into a contemplation of complacency and say, oh, well, it was meant to happen, and therefore move into a lack of compassion. That is not love, dear ones. Hold space for all that is unfolding for everyone everywhere, regardless of how far away it is from your home, because you're not separate from that person having that experience. So when you can understand that, yes, it is a part of the ascension, she needs to release all that is not love and all that is not light to be able to receive and anchor more love and light into her as well as part of that ascension journey. Would it help if you stopped over, what is the word we are seeking? Vicky would like to say pillage, but we're going to, no.
I had pillaging. It's better than the first one that came to my mind.
Yes, Vicky had that word too. Over withdrawing her resources so that she moves out of balance. Absolutely. This needs to happen because you're not helping her. You are disrupting her process. And so she will move into greater and greater correction because she will ascend with or without you.
Yeah.
And when we say that, there are people here on your planet who are not choosing to awaken their consciousness. And ultimately, they may not return to this planet because their consciousness will no longer be a vibrational match to where Gaia is, and they'll move into the next plane of density. So when it comes to that, know that while all are supported to move into this awakening, your free will choices means that it's up to you. Every opportunity is afforded to all. And as you will see the planet Pluto moving to Aquarius, it anchors the Aquarian age further. So as you saw Pluto move through Capricorn and move through structures and limitations, now you move into being able to bring a broader understanding of community and communal living, this will become more and more common.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be some who would call that socialism and will see that as a dirty word. And therefore, we would say, this is your belief. And if you can instead say, okay, my beliefs are shaped by not just my experiences this lifetime, but what I have been told by my nation's history, for example, and certainly history here on the planet, you may see this as not a solution, but ultimately, indeed, dear ones, every planet that goes through the ascension process will ultimately move into communal living, where there is a sharing of resources. It is not to say that you need to move into totalitarian governments, as has been the experience of communism here on this planet. This is a very different energy, completely incompatible with the consciousness of love. Now, the Ascend community is one community who mastered the communal living. And so you may seek more that understanding of communal living as an example. And you would understand, therefore, more of what we are meaning, because they were supported and facilitated by the Order of Melchizedek, and therefore is within the consciousness of love, and is not necessarily a model for what you're moving into. It's certainly an example of one way of how it can be done. There will be others.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you move into greater communal living, a greater sense of human community, as in the human collective as one big community, living and supporting each other, you will no longer over withdraw resources from Gaia. You will no longer over pollute Gaia. For what you will understand is that you will see the effects of the poorer communities and nations around the world. And you would say, but that is me. And we cannot have this. And therefore, dear ones, your experiences of these storms and these energy corrections will move with greater ease and grace. Your experience of them need not be as violent. Gaia can release and move through her corrections with greater ease. And this is indeed happening with all the grid workers around the world who are supporting her to do this. So, dear ones, live in harmony with Gaia, live in balance with her, see and understand and know the symbiosis that you have with her, the symbiotic relationship that you have, and know that what you do to her, you do yourselves. So treat her as you would treat yourself if you love yourself.
Mm.
But what we would observe from our perspective is that where there has been the denial of the physical body, there's also denial of the importance of the physical earth. Where there is a denial of the feminine energy, there's a denial of Gaia. Where there is a denial of the feminine principle, there's a denial of Mother Earth and denial of the mother energy. So as you come into greater balance in the feminine and masculine principles. You will honor the feminine, you will honor the mother energy, and you honor the physical vessels that you live in and upon. Yes.
And I'm hoping with that ascension energy as well, more of those inventions that get buried will come to light, that we can,
yes,
be gentler on our environment with as well.
The Aquarian energy, as Pluto moves into Aquarius, will support more of those innovations because that is right at home with that Aquarian energy.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
So that energy is how far away are we talking for that?
This month. This month it's moving into Aquarius.
Oh, interesting. And this is when we've kicked off our sessions again here on Soul Sisters. So yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. I think I've covered most of my standard questions. Is there any other area that you would like to go in regards to all that we've spoken about today?
Yes, let us speak more about beliefs since you have brought that topic up. Your beliefs about genders are misconstrued in many ways upon this planet. And you may even see these as gender wars. And you see these gender wars between men and women and gender wars between cisgender and transgender. This is one big issue that is coming up collectively to move into greater balance to. This is one of the elements of integration of the human and divine experience. Now, where you have any imbalances in the feminine and masculine principles, you will see some of these effects that we have already talked about. You will see this in Gaia. You'll see this in your bodies. And we will share a little bit more about Vicky's uncle. His experience was moving through the cancer experience. And in so doing, transmuting ancestral wounding, as well as karma through his body. Now, if there was greater understanding of the wisdom of your emotions and how they are energy in motion, emotions, you will then understand that there needs to be energy that moves through you rather than energy to be suppressed and locked into your bodies. For this ultimately then would lead you to an experience like this if you choose throughout your lifetime to not be aware of these issues. So let's be clear. Some people will choose the cancer experience or any physical illness for a particular purpose for their souls. But for the vast majority of people, the reason they end up with these illnesses is so that they can move through the soul lesson that will help them release the old pattern of denying themselves and denying their emotions. So when you can understand this experience, you can allow even boys to feel sadness, and you can allow even girls to feel their anger. In other words, you will allow the full spectrum of human emotion to be able to be moved through as energy in motion. And as it moves through you, it does not harm you, even that which you may call the negative emotions, because you are only moving through that experience. You're not holding it in your bodies and you're not holding it in your consciousness. As soon as you seek to control that experience, to actively suppress or be repressed in this energy through your childhood conditioning, what that does is lock that into your bodies. And this all stems from the distortion in your human understandings of gender and what is feminine and what is masculine. So as Andromedans, we are masters of balancing the feminine and the masculine. And this is what we wish to share today. When you can understand that, when you're ultimately integrating feminine and masculine, you become an androgynous being. It's not to say that your body will be androgynous. It is not to say that you are now non-binary. It is not to say that now you need to reject your femininity or your masculinity or vice versa. It is now that you can be balanced in your energies, being both feminine and masculine energies in both. And that means regardless of the body that you're in and how you identify, you can claim both these energies within you and have an energetic flow between them. It is all about being in balance and in harmony. So you bring these two different aspects of yourself into unity. And therefore, you can move into that unity consciousness. If you are divided in yourself, you'll be divided as the broader society and culture and humanity. There needs to not be any wars or conflict between genders. It is completely unnecessary. Now, what we would say is, if each person can move into the greatest allowance of all people, regardless of the bodies they are in and how they identify, then you would be able to release this conflict. This is in the consciousness of love, where you can be open and accepting, curious and loving towards all people, regardless of their beliefs and regardless of how they identify. Now, if someone else's beliefs actively harm you, then you can stand up and rise up and say no. That is not perpetuating conflict. This is stating a boundary. And in the human experience where you are at as a collective, this is necessary. So we want to be clear on that. That is not contributing to the energy of conflict. This is indeed helping contribute to the energy of change. Now, what we will say is that there will always be those who resist you. And what we would say is, these are not your people. Bless them upon their path. Wish them well and wish them love. For if they were loving to themselves and to others, they would not be in that conflict and they would not seek to actively harm you. And so therefore they are acting upon mistaken beliefs and perspectives. And there is a wounding in their sense of separation. And that is their karma to work through. And we say karma in the sense of energy balance that they need to be corrected through, cause and effect.
Yes, we're seeing more and more of people putting like she, her, or they, them.
Yes.
Even on their business, like email addresses and that sort of. And I quite often look at the people that, not look at, but I've spoken to a person recently whose best friend is referring to themselves as they, them.
Yes.
I muck it up every now and then, but they don't get upset with me. And I thought, well, that's really nice because they're being authentically themselves.
That's right.
And he then's feeling guilty when he mucks up and says she or he instead of they or them.
Yes.
And it's raised quite a good conversation in our household around all of this changes that we're seeing now. And I'm thinking the they and them is that more and more of people understanding that they do have a feminine and a masculine side to themselves.
In the broader sense, yes. In the individual sense, not necessarily. So there's a greater awareness of that non-binary status as a reflection of needing to move into that great androgynous energy that is the divine, that is a fully integrated in their feminine and masculine energy. So the feminine and masculine energy is a polarity, but can be expressed and moved through not as a polarity, but in full balance and flow. Now, this is what pronouns should be doing, is opening conversations. That's exactly what it's designed to do. Vicky has she, her, because she identifies as a woman. She's in a female body, and therefore has the privilege of being in a body that she was assigned in at birth as female. Now, that's not everyone's experience, but let us say this. When we honor anybody else's experience and not judge that experience, we can support them to move through whatever it is that they need to move through for their soul lessons, for their development, and for their understanding. And therefore, they do not need anyone else's judgment and condemnation about whatever it is their experience and their identity. When we are in allowance of anyone else and their experience, as long as they do not actively harm us, and it is not harmful to anyone else for having a different experience of their bodies and their identities. Let us be clear on that. So what we would say is, when there is less, it is judgment, but it is more than that, control. It is a seeking to control another person's experience, both of their bodies and of their gender and their identities, and of how people should be. This is how you should experience your body. This is how you should experience your femininity or masculinity or whatever. And this is just one area. We can explore this in many multiple areas. Anytime that you seek to control another because you judge another person's experience, you are contributing to that control energy and the old earth energy. Whereas when you can move into love and openness, curiosity and acceptance of another person's experience, then you are supporting them to move through whatever they need to move through. And the same is true for you. If they can do the same for you, they can support you to move through whatever you move through. It doesn't necessarily need to be about gender or bodies, but whatever you're moving through as a soul. And so this is the greatest teaching at this time that we can give to you around this particular wounding here on the earth. There is still much more to unfold in this area, both in what is unfolding upon the planet Earth, but in what we have to share. So we'll each time come through with pieces of this. For we have shared already that our teaching is based on the principles of balance and harmony. And this is one of those areas.
Yes, just so my people. Balance is what I'm always working towards in everything that I do and share. And I've actually been seeing like peace as at the center of that point. Yes. Whereas we're finding peace within ourselves.
Yes.
Even if it's on that like seesaw, we tip backwards and forwards through the different emotions, different vibrations. that we're actually seeking peace. And I think peace is a good place to go for people that can't say they're seeking love yet.
Yes, true.
It's easier to take and move towards. So for me, I'm sort of asking people, where will you find a peaceful place in your life? Like where you can understand and balance all of life in a peaceful way that does lead you to love, or it is in love.
Peace is a good one. You're right, it is more neutral than love. The love can be a loaded term, depending on your experiences of love, but also your understandings of love and all that has been shared and taught about love. And there is so much misunderstanding that has been shared as on this planet about love, that people misunderstand what love is, even when they believe they know what love is. So peace is another one that can also be more personal. You can understand what peace feels like in your body. Now, it is not to say that for someone who is constantly anxious, who has an escalated nervous system, or chronically escalated nervous system, doesn't fully know how to experience calm and peace in their bodies. But if they were to feel it instantly, they would know the difference. Instantly. It would be palpable. Now, this is a good awareness to have. Vicky once had this awareness when she was listening to Dan Siegel, who has incorporated mindfulness into the neurobiology of attachment and trauma, and the field that he has founded called interpersonal neurobiology. And he was talking about having a space where you can be calm, and let's paraphrase, like your sanctuary. And at that time in Vicky's life, as she was listening to him, and she listened to him a lot at that time, she realized that even in her own home, she did not have that. And ultimately, she had to leave that relationship and leave that home so she could find it. But this was an important revelation for her, that even in her own home, she did not have that. So peace is a good first step to aim towards, because ultimately, once you have peace and you can anchor peace and calm in your body, in your being, in your life, you will move towards more. You will move towards love and joy, which is not peaceful. It's rapturous and can also cause an escalation in your nervous system. And if you have anxiety or trauma, that joy can trigger you into more anxiety and trigger that trauma also. But if you have anchored that peace and that calm in your body, then you'll experience joy and as that rapture.
Lovely. Yeah, I just think when you look at people like the Dalai Lama, for instance,
yes,
just in that peaceful place, and doesn't matter what question you could throw at him, he stays in that peaceful place and that place of balance.
Yes, but he's able to move easily and readily into joy also.
Yeah, and the giggles, yeah.
Yes, that playful energy. There is a reason why Yeshua said, be like the child to enter the kingdom of heaven. Because you must move through the woundings of the past so that you can return to the innocence of the child. So have the wisdom of the adult, but fully present in your experience and full of wonder and joy. For all that is within the consciousness of love.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes. We are pleased with this conversation, and we believe that this is enough for now. There is so much more to move into. And so we look forward to our next opportunity to share our messages with you all. And so from our hearts to all yours, we send you the energy of love, balance, harmony, connection, and unity. And so it is. So the keepers of the keys, we are back.
That's been a great start to our Soul Sisters year.
Yes, it has been. You have traveled into the depths and into the heights.
We sure
have you not today? So we wish you to leave you. We wish to leave you here, connecting to us within the higher realms. As you move through greater and greater understandings, not only of the human experience, but of the divine aspects of you and the divine experiences that you may claim here on earth. This is what you are here for. You are here to create heaven on earth. So as you do this, dear ones, as you reclaim your own divine natures, as you are able to anchor in peace and love into your bodies, you're supporting the ascension of all. And therefore, you're able to radiate your light and create the change that you wish to see in the world. And sometimes this will be in your aligned action, where your legs will support you into the action that you require.
I love that.
Yes. And at other times, you will sit in contemplation in the energy of oneness and sending love out to all and the entire planet to be able to receive. So just as Gaia is releasing all that is not love and all that is not life, so is humanity. And as it does so, the shadows come up to be explored, to be moved through. And so as you are able to maintain the consciousness of love through all that is unfolding, the more you support the transition into the consciousness of love for all, and thereby help anchor and co-create the new earth. For this is what you are here to do. And we, all of us here, are here to support you in this endeavor. That's why we're here, having this conversation with you all, intimately and personally, as we each speak to your soul. So from the higher realms, the angelic realms, we send you the love of the divine. And help anchor you in it. And flow with it and radiate with it. And know that this energy is the truth of you. And so it is.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't realize how much I've been missing our gatherings till like Time was just marching on. I'm so glad that we've kicked off again.
Marching on in March, yes.
Yeah. And it's understandable now, understanding that Pluto's going into Aquarian energy. So, well, thank you so much, my dear sister.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Such a pleasure. I'm glad to be moving into this conversation. I think that the timing was of the essence, and given that all that is unfolding, it feels like it's perfectly unfolded.
And I loved how they did bring up, like I noticed one of your posts for the message of the week was all about the fact that they're to individuals more than groups, like they're more individuals are open to receiving their energies.
Yes.
A way to say it.
Yeah, so while they work with the collective, and they always have and always will, they're kind of putting out the invitation or the call to work more so with individuals as well, at least on on a more conscious level. So while we may do that in our sleep unconsciously, not be aware of that on a soul or a higher self level, they're wanting people who are wanting consciously of their own free will choice to be able to connect with them and co-create with them. And for some people it's not going to be their thing, and that's okay, but yeah, for others I know they have felt like they felt or knew the call even before I shared that channel. And so, you can see it on my Instagram or Facebook, and that message is there. And yes, it was the message of the week. And the crystal of the week that came through was Tibetan quartz, because I talked about energetic preparation, and Tibetan quartz is perfect for that kind of energetic preparation. Yeah, and it was only a little tumble. It was, wasn't a big expensive crystal, but that's what they shared as being that's what they chose in terms of the crystal of the week as being perfectly complementing what they were sharing.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I look forward to re-listening to that so many.
Me too.
Because there's so many golden nuggets in there. I love, my favorite was emotion, energy and motion.
Yes.
Beautiful way to put it. And I think I'll have to create a post around that alone.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, my love, for being here and holding the space for the channel to come through. And now that we've kicked off for 2023, we can move this on the monthly basis again.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and goodbye to everyone. And we'll see you within the next month.
And if you wish to submit any questions that you would like answered, please let me or Kerry know.
Sure. And from my heart to all of you.
And from mine. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Okay, bye.
Bye.